I'm extremely excited, everyone. This is Global Ambassador Joe Garcia. I'm here with my business partner, Global Ambassador and legend in the network marketing industry, Dan Catto. Dan and I, over the last week, have been doing these year-end webinars all over the world. This time we're doing for the English-speaking markets around the world. I'd like to welcome our new country that has just launched in 2020, our India partners. Welcome. And Dan, you can hear me okay?
Oh, I can hear you great, Joe.
Great. So first of all, Dan and I would like to wish all of you happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I know that over the last week, many of you spending the Christmas week with your families. So God bless to you and your families. It's going to be an incredible 2020. Dan and I are so excited about what's going to happen in 2020. Today, the company just announced and released our new IRP. Just makes it a little easier, very creative by NH2 Global. Just makes it a little more creative, and more easier for people to get to different ranks by using left and the right volume. And you can go to the NH2 Global community page on Facebook to learn more. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to the legend, the master, the global ambassador, Dan Catto.
Hey, Joe. Thanks. Thanks so much for that great introduction. Lots to live up to and step up to with that introduction. I appreciate it, my friend. I really do. For everyone, just clearing my throat here is it is 11 o'clock here in the morning in Miami, in South Florida, here in the United States. We are reaching right now, Joe. I don't know. This could be a record in terms of time zones. That we're reaching today, in large part because India is with us. I know there's not as many time zones in India as we had in Russia. We just had their call 36 hours ago, 11 time zones in Russia, and that was not including Kazakhstan and Mongolia. But we also were on last night with South America. We had Bolivia that was on there as we're going into that market. Gang, very, very shortly. The ink is not quite dry in terms of that market and us going into Bolivia, but that is happening. But we had all of Peru on there. We blew out the lines last night there. There was the same thing in Mexico. So this is our first call that we've got for Joe and I over the last several days that we've done our calls virtually around the world for, we don't know how many distributors, and for a lot of you, and India, you'll get to that. You'll see that. But for a lot of our leadership that we've got on the call here today, and you know who I'm talking about, from the Garth Wrights to the Thomas Kanapics to Dalibor Strop and to now you, Loris, you don't know how many distributors you've got on your team today just because of the global reach that we've got. But this is our first call that Joe and I are going to do today that is not being translated. So it might have a little different flow to it than what we've had over the last 48 hours. But for all of you, as I've kind of had fun and in jest saying, as I've been around the world, Mr. Catto, how many languages do you speak? 3, English, Canadian, and American. So for all of you Canadians, Americans, and English out there, this is for all of you, but for all of our Europeans, all of our Indian friends and now family, and certainly for all of our partners here in North America, this call is for you. Joe and I are very, very excited about certainly this call today. It's a celebration of 2019. There's so much to celebrate, and we've got only so much time, but a big part of our call especially will be the tail end of the call of where we're going in 2020. And we're going to give you a peek under the sheets of what's going to happen in 2020. There is so much happening and going on in Europe, in North America, in India. For all of you in India, you have got to be excited about what's going to happen in your market. You've seen what's happened over the last 18, 19 years throughout all of the global NHT global community. That is about to happen to you. So there's going to be a major movement in that market in 2020. And certainly for the Europeans, but it's a time for celebration and certainly a time for appreciation. And Joe and I really do appreciate from the bottom of our hearts, we really do, to all of you, I think for a lot of you were our distributors first, I guess, when we first met you. And there's so many of you on the call that I have spent personal time with, and Joe has is done the same thing. But you may have started off as distributors, but you became friends, and now you've become family. And I don't want to come off as it being corny or fluffy or whatever. It is real. It is at the core of our success for all of us is the love that we have for our business, but certainly the love we have for our people and our organizations and our distributors and our teams and our family around the world. So we want to thank you for everything that you've done, right back to the great Garth Wright. And him and I go back well over 25 years. As a matter of fact, even further than Joe and I. I think when Garth and I met, Joe was a teenager at that time. It was so long ago, but it goes way back to then. And it goes back to, for all of you in your organizations, and I'm talking to all of the great leadership that we have on this call here, you take a look at your inner circle, you take a look at your organizations and why they're thriving. It's because of the passion, the love, and the care that you have for your people that you have. And I've always said this, you take care of that inner circle of people that you have, that you surround yourself with, and they will certainly take care of you. And that's your family, and that's certainly here, your business with NHT. So thank you right from the top of our organization that we have on this particular call. Garth, thank you for all that you've done. I can just go on, and Joe and I could, we don't have the time, but we are going to take the time, and we're going to do it by rank. We feel that's probably, and it really is, the best universal global, as you know, with our IRP recognition, the best way to really fairly recognize all the great leadership and teams that we have around the world and what they've done, especially in 2019. But for so much of it, it goes back to the early years in 2001 and when Joe and I got started. And, when we first introduced this to Garth in 2002, but Garth, as you know, we go back further than that as well, when you and I met in another company, but evolves into where we are today, gang. And why I share this is that's what's in front of you over the next year, 2020 and 2021 and 22 and 25 and beyond. And it's those seeds that you plant today and cultivate today and water today and take care of today that will reward you for the rest of your life. So it's at its very core are these relationships. So Thomas, we thank you for all that you've done, everything that you've done from Europe to Russia to all the other markets around the world. And Dalibor, we would not be in Europe if it wasn't for you. And we wouldn't be in India if it wasn't for you and your great partner, Larissa, and the boundless, endless energy and the trips that both of you have made into India and the trips that you've got planned. I know, Dal, you're going to be there again in India. I'm shouting out loud to you. You've got big time events coming in 2020. So Larissa, Dalibor, thank you. Thank you so much for all that you've done. To the Lady of Ireland, our green-eyed lady, Sonia, thank you. All of Europe is happening because of your insight when you brought your Irish team to Istanbul a few years ago. We got together. So thank you for everything that you've done that brought us to the mighty Helen. They could do a movie on Helen. They could write a book on Helen and everything that she's done. We would not, again, have the European business and certainly the Scandinavian business, which is virtually all under Helen, and the fastest growing market that we have, fastest growing market that we have in Europe, and not just in Europe, but around the world, is in Sweden. But it's because of Helen. And Helen, the relationship we've got, it's incredible. But your powerful leadership you've been able to surround yourself with some great people like Kaya, Cindy, Sol, Kaya. You've been able to do that in Finland with Mikko. And I'm going to miss some names here, but again, Joe and I are recognizing by rank. Cindy, everything that you and now your husband has been really involved in the business, to Sol, to Bay, and Bay, I got to really connect with you in Spain and how fun that was. Karina, we go back a couple of years when I met you and your husband in Hong Kong, and how much fun we had there, but how much you brought to the team there in Sweden. to Germany. We would not have the German business if it wasn't for Isa. We're still looking for that great leader to quarterback along with Isa, who's our kind of sole leader that we have. No pun intended there, soul in Sweden. But Isa, I know we will have it happen in Germany. You've got the largest population demographic there. It will happen. And the Germans are just waiting for a great, great leader to work closely with you. And we're excited about our future there, especially this year. We've been talking, Thomas and I, back and forth about some of the things that we will be doing in Germany and especially in Europe this year. But that brings us to North America. Everything that we do in North America, 2019, is centered with Andreas. Andreas, I want to thank you for your leadership and your team and your organization. We have tremendous growth in North America and it's really coming at the grassroots level. And I've always believed, you do this business in inches, not yards. And that's what's happening in North America. A brick at a time, solid. Our numbers continue to grow month after month after month in North America. And Andreas, so much of that is because of you and your leadership and what you've been able to provide, not just in North America, but reaching out to everybody around the world with your calls and your support and your direction. So thank you. Over to India. I know Loris Dal, you spearheaded everything that we've had there in India. 2020 is going to be just one unbelievable year, but our leadership there in India, Aditya, Hemant, Karishma Sharma, I know is at rank 2 there. Our rising stars that we've got that have just qualified, Marina Sinsong, along with Quasar Ali Khan, 2 of our new rising stars that we have in India. We just applaud everything, gang, that you've done there. This has not gone unnoticed. And again, from where Joe and I are with the entire NHD business or in our organization, we applaud all again of what you guys have been doing. So thank you. The corporate team from Anton to Shaitan in India and Fabs, everything that you've done with our groups in Mexico and Spain. Well, actually, the last time that we got together was in Spain, but that you've been able to help us out with our Peruvian business. But for all of us in NHD, Fabian and his wife have been able to help us out in our Asian markets, and our incentives and our promotions, anything and anytime, wherever we are at any corporate event. Who is there front and center? Fabs, Fabian, thank you. Thanks for everything that you've done. So gang, it's been an incredible year, 2019. We've been doing this since 2001 when Joe and I, looked at this thing, one product, one country. We had a handful of distributors with this big dream and vision that one day we would be in Europe, one day we would be in India, one day we would be around the world. Well, part of that dream is on this webinar and on this call now. And we applaud, again, all of you guys and what you've done. But the rest of the world, 7 billion people are in front of us. So that's where we're going in 2020 and beyond. But again, just to look and reflect, in the rear view mirror, which is just right behind us, what we did. Helen, you had incredible events in November with Dr. Ben, and we released the new STEM. Probably the biggest event that we had in all of the markets that are on this call today. India had some pretty big events in 2019 in Bombay and Delhi. But Helen, you've always been able to step up and have the biggest events there in Gothenburg, which is not even the biggest city that we have in Sweden, let alone all of Europe. But because of your leadership and you and who you are, you make it happen every time. Thomas, you were in Dublin. I know that. We appreciate that. Garth, you ventured over into Russia. So thanks again for everything that you did and helping out our Russians. And they really applauded on our particular call that Joe and I had with them, thanking you for all of your support that you and Thomas have given and provided for the Russian, the Kazakhstan market, and now the Mongolian market, gang. We had quite a few Mongolian leaders that were on that particular call. But we launched Ariel in Europe and the new STEM. Incredible results. Our people are feeling better, looking way younger because of our new products. India, you not only we launched India, but you got noni, you got glucosamine, you got omega-3. You will get the new stem this year. The incentives that the ink is just drying now on the Macau event for the Indians. Wow, you guys are going to have a lot of fun there. Macau makes Las Vegas look like a little boring town. So for all of you that have never been to Macau, wow, it is a celebration of fun and certainly a great, great reward for our leaders that have qualified for that incentive. For all of our Europeans, you qualified for Greece, North Americans, we have this great, great incentive here in Miami, just in my own backyard. And gang, for so many that are on this call, we got together with my wife and I and our leaders, not just in Europe, but Russia, the same thing in South America, in Spain. We had just a fabulous time in Madrid and Mallorca. Oh God, that was a lot of fun. That was a 5-star week. That was a glorious, glorious week that we had this year with our top incentive and the qualifiers we had. I think we had about 60 from all of our markets that from around the world that qualified for that. But gang, here's something that is powerful. And Andreas, I know you love this stuff that you can share on your next call. But going forward, remember where we are, certainly what we've accomplished and what we've been able to do. But in 2019, for all of our markets, particularly Europe, the same thing in North America, we will see the same thing here in India. But our 2019 repeat business, reorder business, these are our satisfied customers, was stronger than our overall business in 2018. So that meant before we got out of bed, our satisfied customers, our happy customers, our raving fan base, before you got out of bed, was reordering products before you did anything. That is success. And that is a sign of, well, one, a great, great future. Because as you build on this foundation, it's built on granite, it's built on rock, it's not built on vapor or just talk. That is a solid foundation that we have that we're building on a brick at a time. So gang, when you take a look at those tough days, those tough weeks maybe, or that tough month, as you know, maybe that distributor didn't sign up or that person quit or whatever. Every day as you bring on a new satisfied customer, remember this, over time, every year after year after year, our repeat business, our reorder business will be stronger the following year than the overall business was the previous year. That is a powerful statement and at the very core of our success. But take a look at this in 2019 and every one of the markets that we've got on the call here now today. In 2019, we were breaking a new rising star or a new rank every single month. So 2 signs at the core of our business: 1, satisfied customers, and number 2, growing distributors and growing ranks. We had growth and strong growth and solid growth. But this is a great, great sign and indicator when you look at the gauge of where we're going in our future in 2020 and beyond. Sweden had, as I shared with you, the strongest growth in all of Europe and one of the strongest markets that we had worldwide. I keep going back to Helen, but there's a reason why. It's because she's doing it. Her team is doing it. She's got just such an incredible, fabulous team that we also have a lot of fun with. And it's an interesting thing, you know, when you go to our incentives, Joey, we've gone through this. We went through this with our Peruvian distributors. When I was in Spain, I was on a sailboat with a number of our leaders from around the markets. And the gal that was on the sailboat with us was asking what we did. And, you know, we had, I was the only one that spoke just English. Everyone else was speaking another tongue, but everything was getting translated. She bottom line came out and said, "You seem to have a lot of fun." And at the core of what we do. We have a lot of fun. And the more fun we have, the more business we do. The more business we do, the more fun we do. She basically had signed up before she got off the sailboat. She was the girl that was she was the sailor. She was the captain of our little sailboat as we were going around and navigating in, and this was, I believe, in Majorca. But it was just it was a great measure, indicator, and really our brand and what we are and who we are. We have a lot of fun, but we get it done. And it's, again, just at the core of our business, the people, the relationships, and just the great joy that we have in what we do. So that was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one. And that's sort of really, well, before I go there, Helen, I want to applaud you again for the success that you've had with your business academy, the release of the new STEM that you had at your launch with, and along with Dr. Ben at your big event that you had in Sweden. So again, I applaud you and your team for all of that. But gang, in 2020, we will, I can't say it now till they're here, but we will have new products in your markets. You kind of leaked that out with India, with new STEM, but we've got some incredible incentives that we've never had before that you will have in all of our markets. And in India, there will be some major events in all of our markets in 2020. Some of those events have been released. India, you know that you've got Larissa coming, you've got Dalibor coming in February. I will be in Sweden in April. There's a lot more that's coming and happening that you're going to hear about here very shortly. But put this into your calendar. Between January 21 and 24, we are going to have a very special call just for your markets, just for India, just for Europe, along with here with North America by Chris Sharn. Now, this is a call just for your market and for your teams, your organization, and your leadership, and it is the future of NHT in your market in 2020 and beyond. Maya will be on that call along with Chris Sharn, so that is for you guys between the 21st and the 24th. Now, gang, all of this starts, with a thought, with an idea, everything that we have, everything that you do in terms of your business. And I mean, it all starts with a thought, and it all starts with that goal. So in 2020, if you haven't done it, you want to do it by January 1, is really know what you want. Really know what you want. What do you want for your family? What do you want for yourself and your organization? Be crystal clear about what you want. I've always said that when the vision is clear, the work is easy. When the vision isn't clear, the work can be that much harder, so much harder. So be very clear on what you want. Know what you want and what do you want to accomplish in 2020 in terms of your monthly goals, your semi-annual goals, and get down into your activity goals. So know what you want. Put a plan together. You fail to plan, you plan to fail. If you don't have a plan, you'll end up being a part of somebody else's plan. And usually, what do they have planned for you? Not much. So, plan out your world, plan out your life, because really no one else is doing it for you unless you're living in one of those other countries in the world that we're not a part of right now, and we never will be. But they'll probably want to end up being a part of us. But the biggest thing is action. Thoughts will determine what you want. Action determines what you get. It doesn't happen until you do take action. So with that, I am going to turn it over to my partner, known him since he was a little kid. It's now over 25 years, I guess, Joe. But what a fabulous year that we've had in 2019. 2020 is going to blow away 2019. And I know you're going to talk a fair bit about that as well. So, Joe, over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Dano. By the way, I'm still a little kid.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And you look like one.
Yes. That's my goal. That's my goal. 10 years from now, my dream is to look like you.
Yeah, well, you still get carded no matter where you go, right?
Very true. Well,
Yeah.
Great job, Dan. Fantastic job on this vision.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be speaking to you about my passion, about what makes me get up every morning. One of the blessings that Dan and I have had has been an incredible blessing. If I look back the last 19 years here with NHT Global, the countries, the relationships, the experiences that we've had. You know, it's been overwhelming at times when you just look back, and we've had a lifetime, several lifetimes of experiences. One day we'll write a book, Dan, on our travel experiences, and same with you, Garth, and all the countries that you went to here over the last 17 years in your career with NH2 Global. But ultimately, you know, this past end of November and December, early December, I was down in Peru, and I did a roadshow there. And one of the things that really struck me, not just with that market, but when I started talking about this topic, no matter how many times I talked about it, there were still leaders there that couldn't get themselves to this point. And this is about your dream. And I thought about, you know, of all the places around the world that I've attended and the trainings that I've done, this is still one area of the business that most people, probably 96, 97% of people, don't do. They get involved in NH2 Global, but they don't have a dream that they have fallen in love with. They think they know what they want, but they really don't know what they want. So today I want to really spend some time in how you can explode your 2020. And no matter what you've done in the last 19 years, if you just follow the steps that I'm going to be sharing with you here in 2020, I can guarantee you that you will start to manifest the dream, the number one thing that you want in your life. The reason why I can guarantee you, because I've seen it over and over and over again. I'm not reading this from a book. I'm not watching this or taking this from a video or a movie. It's from my personal experiences and what I've seen with my eyes and how to develop a high performance organization. And if this is the one thing that you do in your organization over anything else, you will achieve great things here in NH2 Global, and you will have a high performance team. So it all starts with a dream. You know, for years, over and over again, Dan and I have taught this, that 90% of the business is that dream. You know, the dream is actually the foundation of life. It's the foundation of life. Without a dream, it's very easy to quit the business. The disappointments, the challenges that you have with other people, the challenges you have within the business will take your people out, guaranteed. The reason why distributors move on to other companies, it's because they don't have a dream. The first sign of adversity, the next shiny diamond will attract them. It's because they don't have a dream. So no matter how many times I've talked about this, and what struck me in Peru, one of the leaders there who actually just achieved 4th rank last night, is she asked me for some help. And the one question that I asked her 3 weeks ago is, what is your dream? And immediately, within 2 seconds, I knew she did not have a dream. She thought she had a dream, but she really didn't, because she hesitated. So I started going over what she needs to, why you need to have a dream. So let me just take a couple of minutes here in a very simple process, understand why you need a dream, what makes this world tick. So everything that we see with our eyes, whether it's your house, your car, you know, your furniture, your iPhone, your Samsung phone, whatever it is, everything that you see with your eyes in this world is made up of what we call biatomic particles, or pockets of energy. And science recently, in the last 10 to 15 years, have actually proven that these pockets of energy, or biatomic particles, actually have their own thinking substance behind them. So they're always listening. So from ourselves to your car to your house, everything's made up of this energy pockets. So when you think a thought with energy in a parallel universe, these biatomic particles are listening and they start to form into what you're thinking. This is how we manifest things into our life. So there is a gestation period. So we all know when a female gets pregnant, about 9 months later, there's a baby that is born. In terms of manifestation, we don't know what the gestation period is. Everyone has a different gestation period. But when you fall in love with your dream, the gestation period becomes much smaller. The time period is much smaller. So when you fall in love with your dream, these energy pockets start to form. This love creates that momentum for you to manifest what you want. Why do people have a very difficult time to do this? So I've just explained to you why you need to, how things work in this universe. But why do still people do not write their dream down? Why do people not know what they want? Even logically, they can understand what I'm just sharing. It's because of their programming. The programming that they've had since they were a baby to about 7 years old. And this programming creates these beliefs in our life, which prevents us from dreaming. You know, the programming of lack, the programming that we're not good enough, the programming about money and finances and what we're capable of doing. And unfortunately, most of the world, they're living off of these programming over and over and over again. So this is why people don't do what they know. We're living in a society today, an environment where that is no longer an excuse. You can go online today and learn how to become an engineer in less than a year just by you watching YouTube. Just by watching YouTube, you can learn to become an engineer. Any topic out there, you can learn. This is one of the reasons why we developed, Dan and I, SteamTeam.ca. Every training modality in our business is on SteamTeam.ca. You want to learn how to become a global ambassador, you just go on there, learn how to prospect, learn how to get started, learn how leadership lessons. It's all in there. But why don't people do it? It's because of their beliefs, because of their programming so deep, they just default to that programming. So let me just go over this again one more time. You need to have a dream, and that dream needs to be specific. So these quantum biparticles are listening all the time. So it's not good enough to say, I want to become debt-free, or I want to become financially independent. It's almost not even good enough to say, I want to be a global ambassador, because these quantum biparticles don't know what that means. So you need to really get very specific. And I'll give you a great example of this. When I first got started in the industry, Dan and I eventually started working together. And I remember this very succinctly, where Dan and I were doing a presentation. I used Dan as third party, and Dan always carried his planner around with him. And he happened to open up that planner, and right on that front page was his dream home. He had a vision of going and living down in a warm weather climate in the wintertime. This is what he wanted. This was his main dream. And it was right in front of the first page on his planner. When I saw that, it actually got me really excited, because Dan, that's why he was getting up every morning, because he knew exactly what he wanted. He was telling his universe, these quantum biparticles, this is what I want. This is why I'm fighting through this, the disappointments, the challenges. This is why I'm traveling to that next country. You know, this is why I've done 5 trips around the world in the last 6 months, because this is what I want. And of course, Dan manifested that, because this is what he wanted. He told his universe exactly what he wanted. And since 2001, 2002, Dan has been spending the winter time down in Miami in his beautiful condo right off the beach, because he manifested that many years before with his vision. He knew exactly what he wanted. I was talking to Maria Celia, who is she was third rank, and she traveled all around Peru with me in the 5 different cities in the roadshow that we attended. She had a challenge with her flight, and she was bumped off her flight, but she needed to get to Arequipa. So what she did, because her dream was big, and it was a dream about her family and buying a home for her family. She went on a bus. She got the next bus ticket and took 18 hours overnight to get to Arequipa because she needed to be at that event because she had some guests. That's what a dream does. She called me up last night, 2 hours before closing time. Our RIP was closing last night. And at the beginning of the day, she was several thousand BV away from qualifying for 4th rank. At 10:15, she texted me. She was already 700 BV away. At 1 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, just before the 1 o'clock, she was able to get in her last gold to qualify for a 4th rank. That is what a dream does. It makes you go and extend it. She knows what she wants in life. And she was able to accomplish that because her dream is big. So here are some things that you can do here in 2020. Maybe your programming is so deep that you can't get yourself to write down your dream. You can't get yourself to visualize your dream. And I'm going to ask you a quick question right now. I want you to be honest with yourself. If I were to have a personal conversation with you and asked you what your dream is, and you hesitate, that tells me that you don't know what your dream is. And more importantly, you don't have anything to love. So you need to get back to the basics and really define what you want in life. And then really help your team define what they want in life. And I always want people to really focus on one thing because the power is in the focus. When I first got started in industry, I had a lot of dreams, a lot of goals. And I had this massive board with everything that I wanted to accomplish. And I realized that I couldn't focus on all these things that I wanted. So I just focused on the one thing, which was a dream home for my family. That's what got me up in the morning. And obviously, when I achieved that, all these other things on that list automatically came because I had the money. But the focus was on that home. And also expanding my real estate portfolio, which I've done. So if your programming is so deep and your people's programming is so deep, these are 2 things that you need to do. Actually, 3 things. The first thing is you really need to help your team understand how things come into their life. You know, why people like Dan accomplishes their dream, because they know exactly what they want in life, not what they don't want. Believe me, if you don't know what you want in life, the negative, you definitely will know. What you don't want in life will come to you over and over and over again because you don't have a dream. So the negative part of you will attract what you don't want in life because those are where the emotions are. So what I would recommend that you do, if the programming is so deep, is start to write down what you don't want in life. Spend the next 15 minutes just going crazy of everything that you don't want in life. Put it on paper. And then spend the time to read what you just wrote down. And you can find your dream from that. It's just the opposite of what you don't want. That is real important. The second thing is if that doesn't work for you, activity goals really work. You know, a lot of people that get started in this business can't get themselves to dream big, to dream at all because of their programming. So what I like to do with people is just set up some simple activity goals. So for example, over the next 30 days, you're going to talk to 2 people a day about the business and the product. And once you achieve that after the 30 days, go buy yourself something. We're a lot like pets, you know, when we want to train them, we reward them for something good that they've accomplished. So when you're what you're doing here is you're training your distributors how to think, how to set goals, how to become a dreamer again. And when you do that a few times and they accomplish their goals, they're going to want to get to the next step, is writing down their dream, because that's essential. It is the foundation of life. It is the foundation of life. One of the things I've learned about a dream is that people with no dream, they don't have a vision. So they can have a miracle right in front of them. They can have a miracle right in front of them, but they'll never see it. They can be praying to God every day of their life, expecting that miracle, and that miracle is right in front of them, but they won't see it because they have no dream. But once someone has a dream, they fall in love with that dream. And what I mean by falling in love with it, for those of you who are married or have been married before or have gone through that falling in love process, you have your spouse, or maybe it was an old love, or one of your children just being born. In that moment, you feel that love. And you don't have to remind yourself to write down and remember them. They're always playing in the movie of your mind. That's the honeymoon stage. And when you can get into your love, you can love your dream that way. It's law. It must be yours. It must be yours. So when I fell in love with my dream, I became unstoppable. I was 100% committed to achieving that. My vision started getting bigger and bigger. So whereas one person would see, with no dream, a tree, I would see a jungle. I would see a forest. It was exactly what Dan saw when he had that vision of that dream home in the wintertime and that lifestyle. His vision was huge. Frankly, I haven't met too many people who have a bigger vision than Dan. He was willing to work for it. And that's the key. It's because you need to show the universe that you really love it. It's like Maria Celia jumping on that bus for 18 hours. How many of you would do that for your dream? Most people wouldn't do that because they don't love their dream. They don't know what they want because their programming on the negative is so entrenched into them, they can't see past that. It's just become a habit. So as we move forward in 2020, you need to ask yourself this question. 2019, were you happy with where you were at? Were you happy with what you manifested? All you have to do is look back over the last 6 months, last 9 months, on your predominant thoughts. And you can trace, it's like pieces of the puzzle. You can basically trace where your results are today based on what you've been focused on the last 6 or 9 months. It's that simple. So I always have a recheck. I'm always rechecking my thoughts. And because I know I am the master of my universe, I know what I'm achieving, what I'm manifesting is based on what I've been focusing on the last 6 months. So we all need to recheck this because the universe is just like a mirror. It's reflecting back what it sees. It's reflecting back what it sees. So if you don't like where you are today, so let's say you've achieved only 1 rank this year, and you're at the beginning of this year, you want to achieve and jump up 3 or 4 ranks. I can guarantee you that it's based on what you've been focusing on the last 6 months. This is why you haven't achieved the ranks that you set out at the beginning of the year. That's number 1. And number 2, it affects your actions. Your actions were a lot less because of where your thoughts were. But when you fall in love with your dream now, it sets you apart from everybody else. It becomes the difference maker. So I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to do on a daily basis to achieve your dream. Many of you have heard me say this over and over again. I'm going to share with you once again. And for the new people, I would recommend that you really tie this into your daily planning. So first thing you need to do is you need to define specifically what you want. So these quantum biparticles need to know what you really want, because if you don't do that, you're going to default to what you don't want, because that's where the emotions are. I don't want debt. I don't like living where I am living right now. I'm tired of struggling every single month. And when I look myself in the mirror, I don't like what I see or what I'm accomplishing. You know, those people, most people though, what they will do is they'll blame it on NHT's compensation plan or the products, or they'll blame it on other people. My sponsor's not good enough, because that's where their defaulting is. They can't take personal responsibility. But as soon as you fall in love with your dream now, you write it down. You now take personal responsibility for manifesting what you want in life. Believe me, your life will change. So the first thing is you need to identify what you really want. It has to be very specific. For example, what is specific? I want to take my family and my parents to Paris and live there for 1 month. All expenses paid. I'm going to take care of all the expenses for my parents because I want to give back. That is a dream. Like Dan had, he wanted to be in a warm climate, right on the beach, spend his winters there. He had the picture there. He knew exactly what he wanted. That's very specific. So it has to be very, very specific. So you write it down. I write it down in my planner every single day. I write it down in my notes on my phone every single day. So I'm reminding myself every single day. Second thing you need to do is you need to take out pictures of exactly what you want. Put it on the screensaver of your phone, on your computer. Take the pictures and put it in your office, in your car. Take it, carry it around with you. This is going to be your purpose in life. Believe me, when you have a purpose in life, you have one focus. Everything else that you want to achieve, the universe will give that to you also. Every parts of your life will move in the direction because of where your focus is. Third thing you need to do is you need to affirm this is what you want. You need to affirm this is what you want. You can say, I am so happy and grateful that I've purchased this home, for example. Thank you, God, or whatever your beliefs are. It's real important that you do that over and over and over again. You're basically programming your subconscious mind. This is what you want. You're telling the universe, this is what you want. Fourth thing is that you need to get yourself in a position that you've already achieved this. You can move into that feeling. So I'll share with you a story. Is a Canadian actor, Jim Carrey. He actually lived just probably within 3 kilometers, was brought up within 3 kilometers here in Ontario, here in Oakville, just outside of Toronto. And he had a dream to become a movie star. So at the age of 18, the year prior, his dad lost his job. And like most families, when you lose your job, you know, you end up starting to struggle. And within a year, he couldn't get a job. His family was living in their family station wagon because they lost their home. So at the age of 18, so imagine the programming that Jim Carrey had. At the age of 18, he goes on a whim and he's going to move to Hollywood. He has no job, just a dream. So he takes his car and travels to the movie studios every single day, parks outside the movie studios, the fencing, and is visualizing that he's doing a movie and he's the main actor in a movie in one of those movie studios. He does this every single day. He goes back every single day. So ask yourself the question, does Jim Carrey love his dream? Of course he did. He was going there every single day. He was getting himself in the feeling that he already accomplished it. Not only did he do that, he made a commitment to himself by writing a check of $20 million for him, recognizing and representing his income that he's going to make as a movie star in one of those movies. A few years later, he was casted for Dumb and Dumber. And we know the story now that he's made well over $20 million per film that he's made over the years. You have to ask yourself your question again. I'm going to repeat it again. Did Jim Carrey love his dream? Yes, he did. And he manifested it because he fell in love with his dream. And he showed the universe every day, not every other day, not once a week, not once a month. He went into action every single day to do that, to watch and visualize his dream. That's the way Dan was. That's the way I have been all these years later, is every single day I've developed these habits, chasing my dream. And every time I'd see my kids, it made me work even harder. I would do anything, and we all would do anything for our family. But many of us have been so deeply programmed, we want to stay safe. And this is why our distributors move on to other companies. They don't, the first sign of adversity, they move on. It's because we haven't helped them with this part of the business. And the last thing is visualizing your dream every single day like Jim Carrey did. Taking 10 to 15 minutes and spending the time visualizing your dream. And you can go and Google visualization and the power of visualization. I'm not going to spend the time here. I can go on for the next 2 or 3 hours on this subject. But go and watch these videos on visualization and the power. When you see it in your mind, it's going to be in your hands. Dan has a great saying, when the dreams are greater than your fears, you're going to accomplish everything. The work becomes easy. And it's so true. The work becomes easy when you have a dream. So this is the greatest part of our business. It's not just selling the product. It's not selling the business. It's by helping people with this part of the business, with this part of life. It's the foundation of life, which is the dream. Without it, you cannot, it's like walking up a mountain or going up a mountain and you want to get to the top, but each step you take, another boulder is added to your backpack. You'll never get to the top because it'll just get too heavy. So moving into 2020, my dream for all of you is to just take my advice, take Dan's advice here today, start implementing these things into your organization, and you're going to have a high performance team. You're going to reach your dreams because it's law. It is law. It's not a law that I set up. There's millions of examples around the world. It's law. And you will manifest your dream when you fall in love with it. So Dan, any last minute comments on your end, please?
Well, Joey, we've been doing this a long time. Can you hear me okay? Because I wasn't sure if you were muted at my end. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, just again, you and I have been doing this a long time. It's just a passion that we have for serving, giving back, paying it forward, all of it, and it is growth and it is progress. But again, you did a fabulous job. We have just got so much more to do, and there's so much more to look forward to, even though we've accomplished as much as we have as a team, as an organization, since 2001. And especially in 2019, just over the last 11, 12 months. But 2020, we've talked about it, shared it with all of us, with everyone here, is going to be just, I really believe, our best year ever, especially in these markets. But a lot of what Joe and I have shared with you is just a bit of what's going to happen in 2020. There's incentives, again, there's rewards, trips, countries, markets, and products that we're going to release that we couldn't share with you on this call here tonight. You're going to get a lot of that from, I believe, Chris Sharn, just in the next few weeks between the 21st and the 24th. So again, to wrap, we have got some incredible stuff that is going to be happening to and shared with all of us and all of you in 2020, which is going to be very, very exciting. But again, Joey and I, we love you all. We can't wait to see you all in 2020. in your parts of the world, and where we all come together in different beautiful exotic locations around the world. So again, gang, thank you so much for 2019. Looking forward to 2020 with you. Joe, awesome job. One of your best. You're getting me fired up there, dude. I mean, that was just awesome, your stuff. And again, thank you all. Over to you, Joey.
Yeah, so I think how we should end is, I talked about your story. It's just is I've been there for many of those years.
Yeah.
And, so when you manifested that dream, how did you feel? Like, when you saw it in your vision, you already had it in your hands.
Right. You're talking about when you opened up the planner and you saw that dream home on the beach?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, and for all of you that listening to this, Joe and I just share stories of what we've done and what our distributors have done, and that we share these stories of the products and we share the success stories, and the benefits, the results, and the things that we've done and how things have been realized. It was not just that too, Joe. I remember when you talked about, the $10,000 a month. I know we're not supposed to talk about income and compliance, but I was putting my income levels as well, on my steering wheel, and I would do it in my planner along with the home and also with the car that I wanted to drive. So the things that I really wanted, it was important to me, and it was shared with me years and years ago, 31 years ago, when I got involved in the industry. And I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. Is those things that you got into your head eventually became your subconscious. And those are the things that you started to just naturally. This became one. And it's just part of our DNA and what we do. So it's getting that stuff into your head, but it eventually becomes your subconscious of the things that you really, really do want. And that's, what I talked about on the front end of the call. Know crystal clear what you want and see it every day. You're a mirror image of your consistent thoughts. I've shared for years. And Joe shared that, it's a reflection, the universe of your thoughts. And it comes down to that. So, I was pretty excited, and you think I'd be crazy. Well, yeah, I am. We've been down here now for nearly 20 years, my wife and I, but we're just getting started. There's so much more that I want to do, for myself, for my family, for our teams and our organizations, and for everyone on this call. My goal, my dream for all of you is to help you fulfill your dreams, your goals. But ultimately, I want to see ambassadors in every country, in every market that's on this call. And I know if you hit global ambassador or whatever rank that you're focused on, that is going to help you achieve and attain your goals and your dreams. Nothing will reward me more than to see you fulfill your dreams and your goals. And that's what gives me the juice, is when I see you guys, all of you in India, Europe, North America, all of you fulfill your goals and your dreams. That's where my rewards, that's where I get my juice. And that's what gets my juice every day, Joe. So thank you. And back to you, bud.
And I'm going to end with a quick story, Dan.
Yeah.
June 23rd, 1993 is when we first met.
Yeah.
It was my first event. It was the day I signed in the industry.
Yep.
And
you were there with your brother. I remember you were there with your brother. Yeah.
So here I am in my early 20s, newly married, just became a father. I'm sitting in the back of the room, and it was a super Saturday. There was 8 or 9 trainers that day, and you were one of them.
Yeah.
And as I was watching this after the event, the speakers made themselves all available, and it was like the whole room gravitated to you. And I watched this. And I thought to myself, what makes this guy so special? What makes this guy so attractive to all these people? And then that question was answered a little while later. And it was because of your dream. Because you had a dream so big. You had a vision so big and clear. this is what people felt. And they didn't know what they were feeling, but that's what they felt, and they gravitated to you because of that. So when you have a drink, ladies and gentlemen, you become attractive.
Yep.
You become charismatic. You become a person that's going to be unstoppable. And I'll leave you with that last thought. All the best to the 2020. Much prosperity and abundance. It's going to be an incredible year. God bless everyone. Happy New Year.